I hope everyone is well. I have been away for a while, just taking some time out and kind of doing some other things, doing what I'm told by my guides. They told me it's time to get back to work, doing videos and doing readings for people. So I'm back here now, and I'm just going to pull some cards and talk about the energy that's going on right now, and see what they want me to say. See what the news is. Um, I hope everyone's been all right and paying attention to the signs and synchronicities that go on in your life and following your guidance. This year is really about new beginnings, and how that is it's not looking out for something, that's beyond what you're currently experiencing. So the new beginnings are always going to be what is right in front of you on your path. And it doesn't matter if that is, it's like if things come towards you as you go through life. This is like looking at it in a linear way, right? So it's like you're going along a path and things coming towards you from left and right out of the energy. So from an egoic, lower dimensional perspective, you can view things as good or bad. So you can be like, oh, I don't want this to be happening. This is a bad experience. This is not how I want things to be. It's not what I want. And then you can feel upset and you can feel sad and you can feel kind of cheated and resentment even towards your guides, that kind of stuff. Or you can have things come towards you that are good, and then you can be like, and really, feel like, oh, this is great, life is great, and I'm being rewarded, or I'm being, I'm getting just good things coming towards me. And when this happens, anything that comes towards you, basically, because there's always going to be something coming towards you onto your path. It's the new beginning. It's about whatever it is coming towards you. It's about allowing yourself to renew yourself around that. So when you're renewing yourself, what you're doing is you're letting go of lower energy, lower thought forms and emotions, and you're rising into higher energy. And this is directly related to whatever is coming towards you. So everything that comes towards you is a lesson as well. The lesson is in dealing with it in a higher way. So, and that in itself creates a higher energy, and the creation of the higher energy is creating the new beginning. So that's how that's how this year is relating to new beginnings, because also energetically everything is speeding up. Like, I think one of the last videos I put out was talking about how we crossed over this bridge and we're in this, it's an opportunity, right, to experience life from a higher perspective, from a more awakened and aware perspective. But it's not necessarily a given, because that's a choice that you can make, is to let go of all your beliefs that, we merely exist as the person that we are, and take on the true understanding that we are existence beyond our physical apparition, if you like, because our physical selves are merely an illusion. They are a manifestation of energy. So it's not real, this life, it's not real just because you can touch, see, taste, feel. It's not the only thing. In fact, it's less than 1% of our true total existence is this one human life that we're experiencing. So the taking on the higher understanding is constantly working from that higher understanding. Now, it's not an easy thing to do, because we are living through this limited experience of this one human life, right? Which is also an experience of separation from the whole. So the choice is to like I said at the beginning, being aware of the signs and the synchronicities that are those signs and the synchronicities that appear through the third dimension, that manifest through the third dimension, are to lead you, to help you, guide you along your path with that greater understanding that this is merely an illusion, right? So you can choose a higher perspective, which means when you do that, you're going to let go of any fear or any worry or any stress, because you're not going to get caught up in the fear that comes from believing that this one life that you have is all there is, because really that's where the fear comes from. It's like, oh, if I don't get it right this time, then, you know, I'm going to be dead soon and I won't have got it right. And that's the fear really that comes from any decision that you have to make in the physical realm. So it's choosing to kind of step beyond that, seeing things that way and understanding, staying with the understanding and the awakened perspective, which is knowing that this is a fleeting experience and we go home after it. And basically we go home and we regroup. we have some kind of, I like to think of it as a debriefing, you know, once we exit this experience, this human experience, and, you know, we look back on it then from a higher perspective. It's like, well, what did we learn whilst we were here, and what did we allow that experience to be? And so we're going to do it anyway, so we might as well do it now as we're going along the road. Do you see what I mean? You keep having to do this, like, regroup and debrief yourself on your human experience, and, well, what does that really mean? You know, because it doesn't mean what you think it means, because the human experience itself is merely, you know, an apparition. So it's giving you signs and synchronicities through the actual experience, not just the signs and the synchronicities that let you know that you're having an experience. And those experiences that you have are the lessons, and the lessons are dealing with the fear. Do you see what I mean? It's all the same thing. It's all coming full circle. Every understanding that you have comes full circle back to, this is a limited experience, and I'm energetic. I'm an energetic being having this experience. So, and because we've crossed that threshold, and that was towards the end of that last year, I would say between November and March, it felt like this energy was skipping various levels of existence, right? So we skipped a lot of bullshit, basically. I like to call it bullshit because it's third dimensional. So we were given the option of, like, dropping a lot of third dimensional perspective. And really that allows you to rise into the higher energy. So as you're going along life and things come towards you, and you know, your old third dimensional self would be perceiving those things as, oh, this is good, this is great, this is going to make me happy, or this is shit, this is going to make me feel shit. This is, you know, the higher awareness is to understand that none of those things should have the power to take you out of your vibration. So that things are neither good nor bad, they are merely experience, and your vibration, your emotional self, which is part of that, so how you feel, cannot be affected by what comes towards you. And I'm not saying that that's like you have to be rigid and strict, but it's like an awareness of that. So you might well still be going along this path and have things coming towards you, and they'll take your vibration down because we're like, I didn't want that to happen, you know. And I had that exact same thing happen to me not long ago, just the other day actually. And it did take me out for a little while. But the thing is, then it's to, like, come back to this understanding, well, you know, let go of that, because that was just an experience, and it's not something that has to hold on to and allow it to make the next day shit and the next day shit, because it's merely an experience in the moment. So you can, like, yeah, you might feel a kind of a rupture in your vibration. You know, you, like, your emotion, become emotional, or you have negative thoughts, but then you let go and you go back up into a higher vibration. And this is like the new beginnings. That is the new beginning we're creating. So the new beginnings that this year is not about things external to you, like, oh, I'm going to get a new job, or I'm going to get a new, better place to live, or I'm going to get a new relationship. These are all going to be better for me, because that's the third dimensional perspective, right? It's about what happens in your life making you feel happier. And that's not where we're at. Where we're at is allowing ourselves to be happy no matter what comes towards us in our life, whether it's good nor bad, right? And that is about letting go, because you let go of the bad things, they can no longer make you feel bad. and you let go of the good things being the only things that can make you happy, and you're just happy just because you know that this is a fleeting experience, and it's so only, you know, you might as well be happy. That's really the lesson that we're all learning. It's like we have a choice, and that choice is freedom, and freedom from restriction, and the restriction is feeling like you have to be unhappy because this experience, this one life, will be over, and if you don't fit it all in, and if you don't like make it good in every moment, it's going to be you're being cheated, because that's not the truth. All right, do you see what I mean? So that's kind of this old way of living, which is very much, you know, this old paradigm of living, which is about life is terrible. Life is an awful thing that's happening to me. Life is like, there's always something to worry about. There's always something to be stressed about. There's always something to feel unhappy about. There's always something that's not going my way. All this kind of mentality is what we're leaving behind. So the new beginnings that we're being offered to create, coming from within us, are the beliefs that life is great. I can be happy even though there's something happening in my life, or to someone that I love, or around me, or in the world, or in the political arena, and you know, I can be happy because even those things that appear real aren't real. And I know it's quite a lot if you don't understand how energy works and you don't yet kind of see these patterns to maybe take on board. But that is what I see energetically. It's like branches of a tree, you know, and it's like options as the branches of the tree. The root is, you know, and the trunk is just like our birth, right, and our existence in the physical. But there are loads of manifestations that come from us as individuals, that are like branches on that tree, that are how we are able to experience life, and not to be held like rigid to like one like way of living, if you see what I mean. So let's get some cards out, see what else they say. So that's really where we're at. It's all new, because this way of experiencing life is new for the collective. It has, you know, this has been around for years, this template of existence, of like living from a higher perspective, but there's not a lot of people, to be quite honest, that had access to that, or had experience of it. And it's just increasing. That is where we're speeding up as well, and it's increasing and it's spreading. So you could say like the collective is the trunk of the tree that was once just rooted in one spot, and now it's branching off into like freedom. And we're all able to have this experience of living with an understanding of existence beyond the physical. It goes beyond religion, right? And it goes beyond spirituality. Because even within spiritual belief and spiritual belief, I guess, you know, looking back along the kind of, you know, historically, even this understanding has changed like dramatically. Maybe in the last it's increased, right? It's increased for more people to understand it. I would say maybe since 2012, last 10 years, because it's like the old spiritual belief, a lot of it was just stuck around the soul perspective. It's like, okay, you die, then you go back to soul, and there wasn't a lot of understanding beyond that of like galactic existence, or there wasn't a lot of understanding of what religion was really about, and the fact that it's, you know, all religions are an aberration of the galactic understanding, referring back again to like the Book of Enoch, and that one channeling that has all the truth of the higher beings, you know, and what angels really are, that Pleiadians and Arcturians. So, you know, well, this is relatively new, really, for mass understanding since 2012. So things are changing a lot. They're going to like this event thing that's coming, or is here. It's here in a certain respect because it started. it's really about fluidity and freedom and going with the flow. It's about a state of letting go. Um, and it does come with shifts, the energy does shift. And when it shifts, you feel a lower vibration sometimes, but often that's shifting you up into a higher vibration. So again, it's like what comes towards you on your path. If you feel like it's taking you down, those periods of being down in a lower vibration and purging are getting shorter, and then back up into higher energy is coming sooner, and the periods of that lasting are extending. So those periods are longer, and being able to see the shifts and understand that that's a shift as well, I feel is becoming more readily available. Certainly, I'm more aware of it than I ever was before. Of like a shift occurring through that experience of dropping down into lower vibration and then shifting back up into higher vibration. So, excuse me while I strip off. I'm having a hot flash. They don't stop no matter what, although they're getting less. I must say they're getting less. Right, let's get some cards. Oh, that wants to come out. What's that? The Star. That Star is about healing and it's about higher energy. So that's just what I've been saying, really. I mean, the higher energy is the healing. That's what heals. It is healing itself. It's again, how can I say it? People, like the old paradigm of what healing is, people would think that is kind of dealing with issues and dealing with your problems and dealing with your victim mentality and, really focusing on those things and making a meal of them, hanging on to them, saying I need healing and, I've got to get healing and where can I get healing from, and making that, this is freedom now, is the fact that the healing comes from just letting go of anything that you felt was or needed to be a restriction to your own happiness in the moment, which is the only place you can have happiness, is in the moment. And the control that, feeling like you're stuck, is that control that comes from the third dimension, the fear keeping you stuck. So let's see what else I'm going to say. Nine of Swords, that's an ending as well, and it's around the mind. It's the dark night of the soul, Nine of Swords. We've got the Two of Wands. Two of Wands is a choice. So like I said, we have more choice now around our perspectives, basically, on what we're going through. Five of Coins. Five of Coins is negativity, negative relationships, negative experiences. It's outreach, so it's like I say, anything coming towards you, basically, that's of a negative value. It's fear and trickery, because fear is always a trick. Let's see what else we've got. Queen of Cups, that's going with the flow, which is very feminine energy, fluidity, ease, forgiveness, compassion, and I just wanted to say something about compassion as well, because compassion starts with the self, right? And it starts with you understanding that you're not guilty of anything, all right? You are not you're not here to be judged by anyone about anything. Your experience, right? Your limited experience. Let's call it the third dimensional experience that you have. That's very limited. That is based around how you think about events that happen to you, right? So it's based on that, because it's your mentality is your third dimensional existence, your mind, and how it will trick you into feeling bad by telling you you're a bad person, or it will trick you into feeling like things are not the way you want them to be by telling you that, oh, this is the bad thing that's going to happen to you, and, you don't want this to be happening to you, so you might as well be miserable because it's going to happen to you. So the compassion really starts from you letting go of the thoughts, letting go of the repetitive thoughts that come in that will try and take you out of your high vibration and your happiness. We're all one, all right? We're all working together constantly as a collective to serve each other lessons and understandings. So when you're interacting with any other human being, there is always the opportunity there for you to serve each other lessons, right? So it could be one of you saying something to the other one that's going to be that could be something you take on board, that you allow to make you feel like you're in pain emotionally. So they could offer you a perspective on who you are, and if you were to take that on board, then you would feel hurt. It's the same way, like they could offer you a perspective on who you are, and it could make you feel great about yourself. So the compassion, right? If you start with compassion for yourself and relinquishing the need to feel, relinquishing the need to have any perspective of yourself, come from either yourself or outside of yourself, is really truly what compassion is. Because nobody else is, it's like the old paradigm is wanting someone to make you feel better. So wanting someone to say something to you that's going to make you feel like better about life. And as long as you're as long as you're working from that perspective, you're always at risk of also feeling bad because of what someone says to you, because you're giving them the power to allow yourself, you're giving them the power to alter your feelings. Compassion really is about taking your power back and not allowing anyone to have the power to alter you, how you feel about yourself. So it's really important to understand what true compassion is, because it's a lot of people think that compassion is about it's something that's going to be done to you, all right? It's like something it's like going to a doctor or it's going to a nurse. But the thing is, because we're existing in the third dimension, right, and everything third dimensionally is fear-based. It's really not like that. It's like compassion is coming from just letting go of anything that is related to anybody else, making you feel one way or another, if you can understand that. And moving beyond that. And there's a reason that is really important. All right, let's see if it comes up. Right, we've got the King of Wands coming up in the middle, which is masculine energy, and ego. So this is like the masculine energy when it is egoically strong, powerful, driven, and when it's in charge, right? So let's have a look at this. And then we've got Four of Cups. Four of Cups coming up in the incoming position. So Four of Cups is always kind of like sadness, regret, wistfulness, wanting the past in some way, wanting the past to come back to you, or thinking that the past is better than the future. Let's see what else we've got. Page of Cups, which is new energy, and also love, new love. And then we've got the Chariot, which is movement, and it's masculine and feminine energy combined, moving forward. And we've got the Ace of Cups coming out at the end, which is true love, and also compassion and unconditional love, and new beginnings as well. And underneath we've got the Empress, which is creation itself and feminine energy. So they're talking here about they're talking here about masculine and feminine energy, basically, and the combination of both and how they both create our experience. We have like the heavy egoic energy of the third dimension, which is, there's, with all the energies that we've got, right, masculine and feminine energy, and the egoic energy, which is third dimensional, so it's kind of your reliance on your human experience to guide you, right, and your reliance on what's happening to you in the physical world, and allowing that to be the most important thing, right? That is a masculine energy, old template. Feminine energy, old template, is a victim mentality and codependency and passive aggressiveness. And the new the new versions, right, of masculine and feminine energy are the higher echelons of both those energies. So it would be feminine energy, the higher echelon of feminine energy is letting go, it's going with the flow. It's this inner compassion that comes from just, you know, from like nothing around you affecting you. So it's balance and it's stability. It's also, it's a lot of forgiveness, but it's forgiveness with letting go. All right. So it's not related to, like, it's not such an a personal emotional experience of forgiveness. It's more a forgiveness, just like a general overall forgiveness for everything and everyone and their personal their existences, right? And not tying yourself to those other people in any way and making them responsible for you or you responsible for them. Right? So it's impersonal kind of forgiveness. But there's a lot of strength in that because it's like not wanting anything from forgiving someone. So it's not creating a codependent relationship, because codependently, if you forgive someone, it's because you want something back from them. All right, so the higher echelon of the feminine energy or these things, it's also creativity. And the feminine energy is creativity in itself. But once you have this higher echelon, all these higher echelons of the aspects of feminine energy within you, working within you, from you, through this process of whatever comes towards you on your path, operating from this sense of like, well, neither of those things are good or bad, they're just experience. You're in that higher energy, that higher feminine energy, and you create from it. So it means things will speed up even more, because as they come towards you and you meet them with those higher echelons of feminine energy, the experiences get easier, or what does appear to be like something that might be bad, it won't last as long, and it won't like, doesn't stick. All right, it's like rain. It's like you're standing inside looking at the window, and outside it's raining and the rain is dropping off the window, rather than you're standing outside in the rain with the things that come into your life that before you would have perceived as bad. All right, so that's the higher echelon of the feminine. The higher echelon of the lower egoic energy, because, you know, realistically, sorry, we live we are existing in the third dimension, right? So it's not like we can like completely eliminate that from our experience. You know, we can't just go into la la land, wah wah land of the fifth dimension and like not deal with the third dimension, because we're here and we're here for the duration. And that's another thing that I'll have to say in a minute, is that we are here for the duration. So it's not like, when I talk about these things, I'm not saying the choice is that you can take yourself out of the game, right? That's not a choice. You're here for the duration. The thing is, with things like that, if you're meant to be here for the duration, you will be. So, you know, there's no choice of like exiting third dimension sooner rather than later. That's not a choice that we have. You'll be prevented from it as well should you try it. They have ways, they will stop you from exiting should you choose to try and exit. I know that because they've told me at the points when I've said I'm exiting. All right, so, and by that I mean like killing yourself or whatever. It's just not allowed. So, where was I? So, yeah, we're here and we're experiencing this third dimensional reality, and we can't get away from it. We can't go into our land, pretend it doesn't exist, because there's always something to be done in the physical. In fact, we're meant to do things in the physical world from the feminine energy, so we're meant to be creating in any way that we can, and this is not for an egoic reason. So we're not supposed to be creating things so someone else can look at them and say, oh wow, you're good at that, or oh wow, that looks brilliant. We're supposed to be creating just for the sake of creating. Okay, so you've got to understand that as well. And this ties together, because the energies tie together, they work together, they mesh together, masculine and feminine energy. This creating, right, with that intention, just to create for the sake of it and to feel good, because it feels good to be in the act of creating. This is bringing the new masculine energy into its higher echelon, right? Because the masculine energy is the ego. So the ego is always the thing that is like, I'm going to do that because people are going to think I'm brilliant. I'm going to do that because people will look at me and say how great I am. Or I'm going to do that because it's going to make me feel better than everybody else. Or I'm going to do that because it's going to make me look like a superior person to that person. That's what the ego always wants, all right? It's always got an idea of like looking better than people, or wanting to be viewed as brilliant, or, you know, wanting to shine its light for the reasons of attention and drama and gain, rather than just shine its light because it can't help shining its light, because it's doing it for the joy and the love of it. So the new masculine energy is that, right? It's shining the light for the joy and the love of it, not for the purpose of sucking people in, because that's very narcissistic as well. When people do that, they shine a light to suck people in and get them, then they get control of them. That's a whole narcissistic angle, which is a different thing altogether. The ego, though, will always want gain. It always wants gain. It always wants benefit. It always wants things to go its way. It always wants to have what it wants as well. So the higher echelon of the egoic masculine energy is also release and letting go, but it's doing things that are creative just for the sake of it, to enjoy it. So do you see how it's kind of bringing it into alignment with the feminine? So it's almost like those two energies that combine are the same energy, and that is really the fifth dimensional. It's like combine both energies combined together, and they're almost the same because they're both harmoniously in balance. So it's like there's no negativity in the ego anymore, and there's no negativity in the femininity anymore, and they've both risen up into a higher place, and they're both working for the greater good, the collective good, in whatever way. I hope I've explained that, like about the masculine ego, because I'm not really getting anything else on how to explain it. All right, let's talk. There's some people that can be seen as having a lot of ego. For example, like surgeons, a lot of the time, doctors. They can also be so good at what they do that it becomes like they become overwhelmed with their own expertise, and they become really full of themselves because they're really good at it. And they start to then maybe overlook the needs of the care of the patient because they're so consumed with their own appearance and their own superiority and their own greatness that they overlook the needs of their patient. So that would be the masculine energy out of whack. So it's toning it down, really. This new level of masculine energy is bringing that ego down, and it is bringing it more into accordance with the feminine. So it's more like on a, it would be someone in that kind of sphere that is no longer wanting to be concerned about their own greatness, but only concerned about helping and healing people physically, for example, something like that. So that's like the two energies combined, and that's where we're heading towards. Now we're over that bridge, and now we're in this energy of creating from what comes in on our path. And that is, this is in everybody, right? Everybody that exists. And of course, there is, everybody's at a different level. Everyone's going through a different experience. Some people are awakened, some people aren't. Some people are awakened but are not yet attuned to energy enough to understand what they're going through. So they're still seeking that knowledge and that understanding. And some people are so completely awakened that they're seeing beyond their physical level experience. So there's a lot of different levels to this, a lot of different experiences going on. So sorry, let me just pull myself back in a little bit. Okay. So, right, okay. We've got the masculine energy right in the middle, right? The King of Wands is right in the middle, and to have that in the middle in this set of cards means that this is of prime importance, right? In this reading, we've got feminine energy at the side, Queen of Cups going with the flow, and she's behind the masculine energy. This means that this is pushing the masculine energy forward, right? This card is not as strong as this card. Queen of Cups is not as strong as the King of Wands, and this card is very fluid, right? And it's very gentle, and it's very it's like you see the TV shows about the wild animals, and you see in nature, and you see the mother bear and the bear cub, and the mother bear will gently push the bear cub along until the bear cub is in a place to look after itself and function optimally on its own. It was kind of like this with these two cards, because even though it's a bear cub, it's still a masculine bear cub, and it's going to be, when it grows up, it's going to be ferocious, and it's still got a lot of strength even now, right? The mother is very gentle with the son. So what this is saying as well is that energetically, the feminine energy is always pushing the masculine energy along, basically, to where it needs to get to. There is a great deal of balancing that goes on between masculine and feminine energy, because the masculine always wants to be stronger, always wants to run ahead, always wants to have control, always wants to be in charge, always wants to do things its way, always wants that, right? So for these two energies to like balance out on a physical realm, for the masculine energy to come down and kind of take a step back and blend in with the feminine energy, means that the feminine energy has to really, really slowly produce this effect by not like kind of trying to drag the ego down and trying to like harmfully pull it down and out of its wanting to take pole position, but to like gently bring it into an understanding, right, of where it should be. And this happens by how we live our lives, right? So it happens by how you live your life. This change in the level of the energy happens by how you deal with things that come along on your path, right? So you'll notice, and we've talked before a lot of the time about the triggering that you've gone through in the past. And the triggering is about how you deal with things that come along on your path, right? And, you know, triggering can make you fly off the handle, and it can make you go into ego, and it can make you treat others harmfully and yourself harmfully by how you might lash out. And this happens in all of us, because we've all got masculine and feminine energy inside of us, right? Not just one, two. So the lesson of the feminine energy has been about managing, really, the internal energy within, and understanding the triggers, and understanding how triggering can cause a reaction like that, and also then bringing that in, like drawing yourself into center, and once that's recognized, managing it from within, managing triggers, basically. And when the feminine energy does that and starts to manage the triggers, what they're actually doing is they're managing the masculine energy, right? So by them doing that, it means that everybody that exists, because we all contain masculine and feminine energy, are going to learn to manage their triggers, because we're unified, right? We're all one. So the energy that plays out through us as human beings it's combined energy. It's not an individual energy. So by the feminine energy understanding this process and managing triggers, she's helping everybody in existence manage their triggers. So feminine energy, that's like in each of us that are awakened, all right, and is managing our triggers. So that has been our lesson. So it's been brought to you because you're awakened to manage your triggers, to help the energetic process that's increasing in everybody in existence. So everybody will be managing their triggers, and through that we're going to have less war, we're going to have less harm, we're going to have less confusion, less pain, and we're all going to be, you know, eventually combined energies that are harmless and that are not going to be causing pain to anyone. Right, that's what the event's all about. So these two energies, right, when they're doing that, when they're combining, what else is happening there is that Four of Cups, which is about sadness and grief, right, and about loss, and about wanting to live in the past. Really, that's what it's about, wanting to live in the past. When this process is completing within you, everything that's coming towards you on your path is teaching you to let go of the past and not be concerned about the past. And it's teaching you to be in a better place emotionally, where it's the way it's teaching as well, it's instilling, all right? So this is not something that you're doing through your ego, right? It's not like these experiences are coming towards you and you're always making a conscious decision, oh, I'm not going to think about the past. There might be an element of that, but you'll find as this goes forth, right, and this process completes within you of things coming towards you on your path, and you're not dealing with them as like, that's good, that's bad, because you're not viewing them through a masculine lens or a feminine lens, and you're a combined, stable, harmonious energy within yourself. You will just find that because you're changing, you're becoming like that, a reliance on the past is dropping away, because there's nowhere for it to exist within that new energy field that you're creating. So again, then we've got new beginnings there around letting the past go. You know, there's been, I mean, even last year, there was things about letting go being put out not by me, but by other people a lot of the time. And when you know, previous like to this, skipping over this this leap that we took, this shift, there was a lot of not unable to being unable to let go, right? Not understanding what letting go was. But you're going to find that with this year, as we move through this year, everybody's going to, a lot more people, not everybody, a lot more people that you know, awakened are going to really understand what letting go is, because they're going to experience it more. Because as they're creating this new energy, this old energy of reliance on the past just doesn't have anywhere to go. It just can't exist within the new energy field that we're creating. So that will drop away, and you won't be able to access it. And you might have had a taste of that at some points previously throughout the last 10 years when this process started. You know, you might have gone through periods. Now, if you want to relate this to twin flames as well, you know, people talk about this like disconnect that goes on where you don't notice your twin around you anymore, you don't feel the connection. And that was a taste of this new energy. Because really, when you are balanced like this completely within, the disconnect becomes a state of being. Okay, but it's a state of being that's you wouldn't call it a disconnect anymore, because you've always got the script of twin flame like energy, that energetic, that you know, that extreme connection with that one individual, like playing out in the background of your experience, because you never fully disconnect. But it's like not a reliance on the past. So in a sense, it's there. And it's like as you move forward on your path, this clinging on to the past just isn't there in front of you. Now, it might be as well that as you move forward through this year, there's so much coming in on your path that you just don't have time to focus on the past or think about the past. And this will be your guides, making sure that you don't have time to focus on the past or think about it. Because they're leveling you, they're shifting you a lot. And when you're shifting, they're shifting this away because it's an old paradigm. So that we've got that showing there as well. So through your growth and your experience and your evolution is a letting go, and the letting go of the twin flame template as well, which is another thing that I've experienced this year, which has been a reason I closed down my channel and my videos was because of that. So it was just time to do that. And this is something that comes in towards the end of this particular journey, is a letting go of that template, letting go like of the terms and the conditions of it, really, because that's all designed to get you somewhere. That experience and all that it's like a program, twin flame program is designed to get you somewhere. And then when you get there, they like pull that rug away and they present you with what is a higher, faster evolution beyond that. So because it's not necessary anymore, because it's only meant to get you to a certain point and then your experience beyond that. Because you come back into like experiencing just a higher evolution of being within a physical realm, really. I don't know how else to put it. That is, it makes that kind of twin flame thing kind of irrelevant in the sense of it not being something that you need to like feel like you're trudging up a hill with, which it felt like for a long time with me. And I think it does with everyone. They feel like they're trudging up a hill and they're not getting anywhere and they're trying to get somewhere. And really what it's about is it's getting you somewhere. It's not getting you where you think it's going to get you. Because you get to the top of the hill and there will be, you will be on a plateau, and they call that the promised land. And you will be there on your own, because you will be experiencing this harmony inside of a masculine and feminine energy. And you will not just have that and union straight away, physical union straight away. You'll have that experience and you will be then dealing, it's like being on a motorway with signposts coming towards you with different things. Like, how are you going to deal with this? How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to deal with this? You're going to go into fear? You're going to stay in higher energy? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Each time something comes along, you're like, okay, higher energy. Oh no, oh, whoops, I went down into low energy. And it's like, did I lose my vibration? Did I lose my vibration? Am I operating from a new system? It's instilling a new system, you see, harmonious balance, which is, masculine and feminine energy combined. So, and it's fast. So that's what we got this year, right? What else do they want to say? Momentum, just like, building up momentum even more now from the beginning of this year. Forget about what's happened. All right, we don't need to talk about what's happened. From now going forward, momentum is going to build up, and events are going to come towards you really, really quickly. Like I said, like you're on a motorway, one thing or another. The advice with that is always go with what is being presented to you and go with the flow with it, and deal with it from a higher perspective and put out a higher energy around it. Recreate a better energy with everything that comes to you on your path. That's really what we're here for, is to create a better energy. We're not just doing this for us, remember, we're doing this for masculine energy. So for those of you who want to know about, well, how is this affecting my twin? It's because as you create a more harmonious masculine energy by dealing anything that comes towards you on your path through a balanced masculine and feminine energy, you're creating that in your twin as well, because we're creating it for everyone. So that would include your twin, of course. And actually, that's really what happens when you get to the plateau at the top of the hill that you've trudged up on this journey that's the promised land, is that you're then put into service as creating more better energy from that standpoint, which is beyond your twin flame journey, because it's no longer just about that one person, right? It's about your service, creating better energy, because you will have gone through the whole purge where you just created the better energy in yourself to be able to do this. And when you are able to do that, then you are put into more service. So your service never ends. On an ascensionary path, that's what it's about. It's about, as you rise to understand a greater meaning around the existence, you are put into service with that knowledge. And if you don't do that and go along with that service and create that better energy, all you will be doing is you will be backtracking a little bit, because you will have to do it as soon as you're able to, right? So say you're going forward. Say you have created yourself a healing business. Say you're reading cards, or you're doing something like that, and you're going towards it and you're doing it and it's all coming towards you and everything. And say you get the masculine energy overtaken and the ego overtaken, and it's like, I can make more money out of this. Or, I now want to do this as well and add this string to my bow. And your guides don't want you to do that, because that's not your soul path. So that's coming from your ego. You might go towards it because it's coming from your ego, but you will snap back into position because it's not where you're meant to be going, and you will just be back in service again with the energetic service, which is really why you're here. Yes, you will be allowed to make money from what you do because you're meant to sustain your existence in the physical world, but you will be pulled back into service, that energetic service of creating better energy. So it's not going to come from the ego. Do you see what I mean? So that's just how it is as well. And really the energetic service is why we're here. So, another thing, you're going to be given, those of you who are at that stage now, who have reached the top of that hill, who are in service in that way of creating better energy, will be supported in whatever way financially. And that just is. And I don't know how that happens exactly, but it's like anything can manifest through the physical world. Anything, money, just can come from practically nowhere. I've got to tell you, I'm in this house that I've moved to, and I've got a lot to do in this house. I've got a certain amount of money that that's been put aside for that. But I've also been, because I've not been working or I've been doing readings, so I've been dipping into that to like live off. And I keep looking at it and thinking, oh God, I bet I've got none left. I bet I've got none left. Or, you know, every time I look, it's practically the same amount. Where is it coming from? I do not know. But it's kind of not going down, and that's just how it is. And then I was looking back in my diary about something, my journal about something the other day, and I noticed I'd written, this was way back in 2016 when I started doing this work, I'd written something really similar, which was like, I paid for this, 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 and this, but I still seem to have this amount of money left, which is the same as I had before. So do you see, it's like you will be supported. Once you get to like working energetically like this, you'll be supported. And you don't have to worry about that, because that'll just happen. It's all about just creating this better energy, really. And that's it. Anything else you want to say about this year? The balance, talking about balance again. You haven't got to beat yourself up. If you could tip out of balance, one direction or the other, it's not the end of the world. You know, if you find yourself fearing something and walking away from an experience because of fear, it's not the end of the world. Like I say, there might be a bit of backtracking, but you'll then just be presented with something else to like create better energy around it. You know, this might happen because it's all learning. It's all learning wheels until the stabilizers come off, and then you're on your own with it. But by then you'll be ready for it. So everything's always the way it should be, you know. It's always going to be, you're greatly supported in what you're in your endeavours to create better energy, basically. And that is, you know, it's why you're here. So of course you're supported, and of course you're going to be assisted, and you're going to be guided. Trust your intuition. You know that every experience is about up-leveling you into better energy, no matter how detrimental that experience might look. Like I said, there's really no good and bad, there's only experience. So let go. Got to let go. As soon as things happen to you as well, this energy is moving so fast this year, just let go of things. Don't hang on to them. You know, don't write complaint letters to people about things, and don't like try and like hang on to things and judgments and all that kind of stuff, because it's not necessary, and it's the wrong energy. Trust the cycles of the moon as well. There's a very interesting thing that's happened now, and there's a change in the moon cycles. So we're releasing at both moons now. We're releasing both at the full moon and the new moon. You might have noticed, because things are moving so quickly. The moon cycles used to move, our energy would move really slowly with the moon cycles, because we were not as evolved. And now we've evolved, the moon cycles have changed drastically. And we release at the new moon as well. You might find yourself having like purges at a new moon as well as a full moon, as you get rid of stuff, because the reason for that is because we are clearing constantly. Our clearing is being up leveled and upgraded as well. So it's like the transmuting of dark energy, which is how you clear dark energy. We're doing it at both portals. We're doing at full and new moons. So that's why you will experience that, to get rid of things more quickly, to get rid of dark energy more quickly. That's what that's about. You know, always reach for your highest self to guide you, and know that that is within your reach. So the highest part of yourself is a part of yourself that will be saying, let go. The part of yourself that will be saying, go towards the light. Don't feed the darkness. Don't feed the fear. Freedom comes from reaching towards the light and letting go of the fear. And you're assisting everybody by doing that. And victory comes from it as well. True ultimate happiness and joy will come from the freedom. You might not even realise that, but it will. So you have to trust that. All right. Now, your lower field experience, especially like we're talking about twin flames, we're talking about anything where people feel like or, you know, I'm never going to be happy until that person's in my life. And they're basing their whole human experience around that connection with that one person. You've got to let go of it. You have to let go of that being the one thing that it is like that is in your mind's eye, because it's not serving you to have that as your point of reference anymore. You are being guided into becoming more of a channel for light energy. So this is why this twin flame reference has got to be dropped, basically, in the sense of like it being your guiding light. It can't be any more. You have to trust your process, and you have to trust your experience, and you have to trust your guides. And you know, you might feel like at some point, well, why did they do this to me? Why did they make me feel that this person was coming back to me? And why did they make me feel that that's the next thing that's going to happen? And why did I have readings with Hazel and she said it's going to happen? And, you know, and it's coming soon and all that kind of thing, where it's all to get you to this plateau, right? But when they say the promised land is on this plateau, you have to trust that, right? You cannot get to this plateau and be on your own and be doing this work of the clearing, more energy and turning more dark energy to light, and not trust your guides. So you have to let go of it's advisable to let go. I think you will be made to let go of the twin flame reference point at some point, like I was, which is not actually a harmful thing, and it's not detrimental. It's actually quite beautiful letting go. It doesn't mean that the connection itself is fully let go, and it doesn't mean that what you've been told isn't true, and that won't happen, because it will happen. But it's just there's a expanse of like this, like I said, this balanced energy of balanced inside of you before you get to that point, because it's also balanced within them, right? And through that comes a lot of clear logic and a clear mind in both of you. Clear logic, clear mind, clear intention. At the drop, they just said, which is very funny because that's like talking like something out of the Wire or something, you know, that TV program, but they said the drop will be made. So you know, at some point that will drop into your reality, that connection in a physical sense, but you've got to trust that that'll happen when that's going to happen, not when you want it to happen from your ego, but when you are fully cleared. All clearing has to take place before these connections come in. And the fast moving energy that I'm talking about, the building up momentum, you go with it, because if you go with it, you're going to be clearing fast and furiously. And also that's why you're here, and you've got to do that anyway. So that's like, you might as well just do it and get on with it. Okay, so that's about it really. Lovers is coming up there. Two hearts beat as one. They just said. And one mind, you know, that's another whole other story. But you and your twin, whoever they are, you're very similar. You've got the similar mindset, you know. And the thing is, the mindset's always been the same. What changed things and what altered things and what made things not what you want from an egoic perspective is the ego itself, right? Because the ego got in the way and made the masculine work from a lower perspective. So moving beyond your ego, which is you moving beyond wanting this, you have to move beyond wanting it, because whilst you're still wanting it from your ego, he's still going to operate from his ego, he or she. They'll still operate from their ego. You have to move completely beyond your ego. You've got to understand that. You know, you can see your ego at play. You can see yourself wanting someone more than you want anything else, right? So when you see that happening in you, then address it with that awareness. That's all you need to do to release the ego, is to see it from that awareness. And then you've got three people inside of you. You've got your higher self, you've got your lower self, and you've got your inner child. It'll be your inner child that wants it. That'll be where it's coming from. It'll be your lower self saying it's never going to happen, leading you into pain. And it'll be your higher self that has the understanding that it will happen, but it's going to happen when your soul wants it to happen, and not when your inner child wants it to happen. So you've got to like understand that from an internal perspective, right, and just let go, basically. Use your higher self to soothe your inner child, and even your lower self to soothe your inner child, but in a non-harmful way, not in an egoic way, all right? Not beating yourself up or beating them up, because that's what we don't want the ego to be doing, any self-flagellation or any beating up the other one, because that's harmful. What else have we got? Ending a new beginning. You see, it's all energetic. It's just energy playing out. Every time you end bad energy, you get into better energy. And the more competent you get at that, the more furiously they will bring that work in for you to do. Right? And that is something that that also will end at some point. That it will end at some point when you finish that work. All right, so that's it. That's what I'm going to say about what we're faced with right now, and I'll be back at some point when things change and I've got some more information. And I'm available for readings again. I haven't put the website back up just yet, but I will do that shortly. I'll put my email address below, so if you want a reading, you can email me. Try to operate from this video where I've spoken, and don't come back with the same old question of like what's going on with him or when we're going to be together or anything like that, because those things are bad energy for you to be in. So you could, try to reframe your experience by having readings that are going to be more giving you more guidance that's going to be useful to you. I mean, you could ask like, where am I at on my path? What does my soul want me to know about where I'm at on my path? You get a lot more benefit from that than asking about someone else. And you can see there, just from that question, you're opening things up, right? So you're immediately in better energy by opening up to your experience rather than closing it down by just saying, could you tell me when he's coming back, or is he still coming back? Because that closes down your experience. You're bringing it down to like the one thing that is like not, it's not operational. It's also focusing downwards and not upwards and openly. So just be aware of how you do that when you're looking at getting a reading from me or anyone else, because you could ask like, could you tell me why things are so crazy with me at the moment? What is this crazy shit that's going on? They love things like that. They like laughing, your guides, They like it when you understand that you're going through some crazy shit, and you can accept that, and you can want to know more about it. They like that kind of thing, because it's like you're playing along with it. When you ask repeatedly, I have to say this, when you ask repeatedly the same thing about him or her, if they're coming back, guides can get a little bit fed up with that, with you asking the same thing, and they can start to feed you all sorts of like nonsense from me or anyone else, because they're like, oh God, not again. We said that. We said they're going to be back. How many times do we have to say it? So, well, tell her that instead. It's like, because they're like, will you just like, look at what's on your path right ahead of you? What is it you're dealing with right now? What do you need to know about that crazy shit that's going on? Don't you find that more interesting than constantly like, being in a corner looking at the wall, wondering when, marking down another notch on the wall for like a week he's not come back or whatever? Let go, set yourself free from it. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Lots of love, everyone. Take care. Bye.